Hello, welcome back to the ChinWag Podcast, Season 2. Today with your regular host, me, Matt.
Me, Tom.
And me, Luke.
So today we'll be talking about films, as Tom will discuss further.
I think you've done it there. Yep, back on films. Done it before, but it's been 3 years since we talked about films, so a fair few have come out since then.
And a couple are still waiting to come out and have been delayed because of everything that's been going on in the world.
Massively delayed, yeah.
Yeah, we figured that it's a unique situation now where we can talk about 3 years of films and we can talk about delayed films and the state of cinema now.
The state of cinema, yeah. Well, because there is not really any cinema.
No. But, well, Luke, you went to go and see Tenet recently. How was that?
Yeah, so I think it came out on Wednesday and I saw it on Saturday, and it was an interesting experience being back in a cinema because of all the guidelines that have now been put in place. We went in, everybody was populated around the cinema, and I think the closest person to us was like 2 rows in front of us. I'd say there were like 15 groups spaced out in the cinema, so I felt super safe in it. The only weird thing was according to the CineWorld guidelines, you have to wear a mask through the whole thing.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, that's so weird. So you're like sweating behind a mask for what, 2 hours?
Well, I don't sweat behind those masks, so it's one of those things that you just have to do it. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter, like,
yeah,
you've just got to do it for yourself and for everybody. So it was fine, but yeah, we went to see Tenet, and it was a really good film. I thought it was a really good film. The plot going through it was at the very start of it, I was a bit hazy, but like I'd say half an hour in, I was like, I knew what was going on and stuff.
I read that apparently it takes time because it's about them traveling through time going backwards, so it's all everything's in reverse almost.
So the idea is that you travel through time normally, and there's these special machines called, I believe they're called turnstiles or they're called gateways. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of those two. And the idea is that by going into one of these things, you can reverse your travel through time. So you can go backwards through time. And the cool thing about it is to differentiate it. Of course, you'll be walking forwards and everyone will be walking backwards or vice versa. But every single time somebody goes through and is traveling backwards, they have to have an oxygen mask on because something to do with your lungs being inverted or something, and you can't take normal oxygen. So to differentiate who is going backwards in time and who's going forwards,
they're
wearing a mask. And it might just be like the simple oxygen mask, or it might be in like a special suit. But I thought it was a really good film, to be honest.
Can all the people see the person who's like going back in time?
Yeah. So I won't go through. I won't spoil it too much. But there's at one point where somebody who's traveling forwards in time is fighting somebody who's traveling back in time. And one of the important premises of the films is that if you can get inverse bullets. So these bullets,
as in if you stand in front of someone who's shooting you, the bullet's going to travel into their gun through you.
Yeah. So the idea is that if you are traveling forwards in time and somebody's traveling backwards in time, when you say first enter that room, the bullet is already lodged in the wall, and there's already the shards in the wall, or the shards of glass in there,
and then the
bullet pulls out of the wall and it rips through you. And they're apparently really hard to treat because their bullets are inflicted, they puncture in a different way or something.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy.
I see what you mean now about having to get used to it.
It's one of those.
That's a weird concept.
Yeah.
When we were first getting through it, it was one of those things where you have to kind of get your head around it. But once you get your head around it, and the whole premise of the film is it doesn't like wait around on that idea. It's just things can travel backwards through time. Deal with it. There's no elaborate plot or particles or anything like that. It's just it happens.
Yeah, I guess it's one of the films that you've got to give a chance. Like if you start watching it and you're not sure on the concept, but I guess you got to give it like a proper go. Yeah, like you got to keep watching.
But I'm like I said, I'm not going to spoil all of it. I'm not going to spoil too much of it actually because
no, I don't. I think it's too recent to spoil it. I mean, I haven't seen it.
I mean, it's only just come out in cinema. Yeah.
But
did you notice that everyone was like taking their mask off in the cinema, or do you think people were actually sticking to it?
Well, I was in there with somebody, and she kept her mask on, and I kept our mask on. I mean, I didn't look around too much in the theatre, but I'd like to think the majority of people did, but we weren't like. I know there's the about the rules and everything, but I wasn't within 2 meters of somebody. I think the closest person to me was like 3 or 4 meters. But I personally felt rather safe in the cinema.
I guess it's difficult though, because did the ticket prices go up or anything like that?
I think the student one was £9.70. I think
that sounds about right.
But yeah, sorry, go on, Matt.
No. Yeah, go.
But yeah, it was weird being in the cinema first time. Of course, it was weird having to wear a mask. But hey, that's the guidelines, and we've all got to do it to reduce it. So I didn't really mind it, but it was nice to be back in a cinema. It brought something of a normality back to things.
Yeah. I think the only thing which I would be uncomfortable with is wearing a mask, but that's just something you have to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. One thing I did find interesting about Tenet, apparently it's a sequel to Inception, is what I read somewhere.
Really?
That apparently they're set in the same universe, in the same world.
Okay.
And that the rules of Inception are in the same world as Tenet. So it's this sort of crossover. I mean,
I went back. It was one of those things that after the film, I went back and had a read of it, and so there's a lot of theories behind it about how it all works, because it's one of those films that you should watch normally and then have a quick go back in your head, because there's a couple of things that come in at the very end of the film that give you there's a couple of things at the end of the film where if you see them, you think, because it takes you back to like the very first scene. And I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's
it turns it around.
I really want to say this, but I know I can't spoil the scene the film for anyone.
Out of 10, what would you rate the film, Luke?
I would say probably a 9 or a 9.5. But then again, I like Christopher Nolan films. I like sciencey films, like Christopher Nolan, because he did Inception, he did Interstellar, he did Tenet, he did the Batman trilogy. And he did Dunkirk. I like his films, and I like his creative style as a director anyway. So I'm going to give it a really, really high score.
That's sick. So it's officially branded a ChinWag recommends film.
Would you say it's better than the Batman's though?
It seems like a different style. I don't think you can compare them really.
I think that the Batmans are very. The Batman trilogy, that trilogy is very iconic. So I think it's going to have to be one of those films that I'd have to watch again. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, but I'm not sure if it would be like an iconic thing like the Batman films.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. Yeah. It probably won't go down in film history as much.
Yeah, and I think that as well because it's being released towards the end of the pandemic, lots of people aren't going to go out and see it, and it's not going to be seen in so many.
Get this full cinema
this
experience.
Segues very nicely into a point I was going to make about how some films, like I think is it Mulan? That's being released in cinemas. That's being released on Disney Plus.
Straight to digital. Thing is, I think that's these days straight to streaming services is the equivalent of what used to be straight to DVD.
Well, no, this is kind of different because Mulan, you have to be a member of Disney Plus, so you have to be paying £5 a month still.
Yeah.
But
I've got Disney Plus.
That was supposed to come out last year, wasn't it? I think it was delayed a long time.
But on top of that, you need to pay £20 to watch Mulan. So
really?
It's more than a cinema ticket.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's £20.
So to watch Mulan, if you didn't have Disney Plus, you'd have to pay £25.
Yes.
Well, hang on. I suppose that depends on how many people are you going to do. Because if you're thinking about like a family of 4 who are going to watch that film, you're watching it in the comfort of your own home.
It's a group, isn't it?
You're not going to have to try and smuggle snacks in, even though you're allowed to bring snacks in. You're not going to have to try and play this smuggle in game where you shove them up your top. But
you do never get that full cinema experience. You don't get crumbs in your jacket, and B, like, you know, the massive speakers with the subwoofers and the comfy chairs and the huge screen.
Yeah.
And if you sit at the front, broken neck, and
no, it's just sitting on the floor on your carpet, and but it won't be as exciting because you can now sell tickets to it, and you won't have that piracy ad saying pirate. If you steal films, it's like stealing a handbag. No. You wouldn't steal a handbag. You wouldn't
steal a car. It's like that bit from the episode of IT Crowd where like they take the you wouldn't steal a handbag. You wouldn't shoot a police officer.
And then take his hat.
That's the one, yeah. And send it to his grieving widow.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting concept. It depends on like how many people would be seeing it. Would I be able? Yeah, but I suppose some people have that sort of technology at home. I think lots of like film enthusiasts or people with home cinemas, they're all good, but they're gonna be feeling brilliant about it. Matt's just suddenly jumped up.
I think it is a bit steep though, £20.
I think for a single person,
yeah, I think it's too much.
For a single person, it's outrageous. For two people, you're not getting the same sort of cinema experience. But then again, it depends on whether you prefer to be in the comfort of your own home on your own settee, or in a big, as Matt said, a big leather chair with a couple of armrests on it and stuff like that.
I just googled it to see the reviews, and it's got a 3.8 on IMDb. So
no, it looks so good.
Is IMDb out of 10 or 5?
Yeah, it got a 3.8 out of 10, and then on this other thing, it's got a 2.6 out of 5. So it's
sad.
It's pretty average. You know,
so
I've not seen it myself, but critically acclaimed, like it's critically, you know, not anything special.
Wait, no, on IMDb it says it's coming soon. It hasn't got a review.
If you Google Mulan film, then it comes up.
No, but this is 2020, not the 2009.
No, this
Could
is
the webpage
2020.
be out of date or something? Have you got it?
I don't know.
Have you got it cached?
No, I refuse to believe it's a 3.8. Surely it's higher.
I tell you what.
I think it was going to come out for such a long time, because I follow one of the guys who was going to be in it, Jimmy Wong, and like he was posting about it for years and years, and then I think it got delayed.
I think it looks like it's going to be a really good film. To be fair, I'd like to go and see it, but I don't think I'd personally pay £20 to see it.
All right, no, it's coming to cinema soon, so you have the option of going out, or you can watch at home for more.
Yeah, I think this is sort of what, you know, Disney and Netflix and Prime trying to like not kill the cinema industry, but like take it away from cinemas to like home.
I know, it sucks in one way, but on the other hand, I can still watch it.
Well, the problem with it is that to start with, like, you had like the TV license, and you'd have to pay a TV license to watch TV. But at the end of it, it sort of got to a point where people were saying like, well, why am I paying a TV license to watch a load of shows that I don't necessarily want? So things like Blockbuster and Netflix started coming out because they were like, well, you only pay for either the stuff that you do want to watch, or you pay such a insignificantly small amount for Netflix per month. Was it like £4 or £5 a month for Netflix? Which racks up to
I think it's from £5 a month.
From £5 a month. So that
you can pay more for like 4K and all that.
So that racks up to be £60 a month, I think. Yeah. So that racks up to be like £60 a year. Sorry. But if you think about it, that's less than a TV license, but you get all of the films. And with lots of people, they don't necessarily watch TV all the time. They just watch like the odd film or the odd like TV show.
Yeah.
But the problem, so that became a more interesting option to everybody. But at this point in time, you're starting to get all of these different companies that are saying like Amazon and Netflix and Hulu Plus and
over the course of when you've got Disney, Netflix, and Amazon, you're paying more than
it's ridiculous.
The market
you have to pick your battles.
The market starts to become oversaturated, and at that point in time, you're not just pulling from people watching TV. You're pulling from people who are wanting to watch these sorts of shows. And I think with like young people who aren't like I mean, in for example, in university halls, you're not necessarily going to want to have a TV because it means you can only watch a TV in your room. But something like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that is more appealing as a student because you can watch it anywhere.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't rate Netflix that highly.
No, I'd agree on that. Or Amazon Prime.
Most of the things, exactly. Most of the things I watch on Netflix are things which I've already watched on BBC or other places. It's nothing.
Yeah, I think they always have those things that grab you in that only stay there for a month or so. And like they have the classic films, you know, they'll have like the Ocean's films, but they'll only be there for a month and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And then they just some of the originals, to be fair, are good, but then they also have a lot of crap.
Really good.
They have a lot of crap on there as well, though.
Yeah, there's just, you have to wade through so much before you get to something good, which is a bit annoying. But I prefer Now TV over those kind of things to watch films.
See, I've more watched TV shows, to be honest, than I do watch films lately.
Oh, really?
Like, I think some of the Netflix original TV shows are absolutely incredible. Like Witcher, the Netflix show, is insanely good.
I've started watching that.
You have? What do you think?
I'm on episode 3 now. It's really good. I watched it originally with my dad, and we didn't get into it. And then I decided to watch it again, and I found it's really good.
I'd say though, when I started to use like things like Netflix and stuff, I started to watch some comedy shows, and it's the sort of thing that I wouldn't necessarily be able to watch on like terrestrial TV.
I think it's got some gems that not many people like. Like it's got old classics, like it's got IT Crowd, it's got Spaced, it's got, you know, like Top Gear. But then it's
Big Bang Theory, South Park, that sort of like
Friends
stuff.
Yeah, like, but then it's also actually got like some of the original stuff. Like I like the Chef Show. Obviously, there's The Witcher, but then also like Sex Education. Like that is a Netflix original, and I think that's actually really good.
Is Rick and Morty a Netflix original?
No,
no,
I don't think so. No, it was originally its own thing, and then they got bought by some other people because they were too slow, like production just on themselves. But they've got like so much stuff on Netflix, but I'd say 90% of it is just shit.
Yeah. I only watch one thing at a time really on Netflix, and then I wait until something else comes out. So it's only periodically I actually go on Netflix.
I'll be honest, I use Netflix when I'm like, I'm just dropping my pencil. When I'm using Netflix, I do rely a lot on the notifications coming through, because Netflix is the sort of thing like, if I'm bored, I'll like spend some time looking for something, but if it's something pops up saying like, oh, a new season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine's on here, I'll think, oh yeah, I'll actually watch that right away.
Yeah, I think for me, it's either if there's something that I'm specifically looking forward to coming out on Netflix, like you know, if oh shit, I can't think of an example now. When It's Always Sunny, the new season came out, I was like, I know that's coming on Netflix, I want to watch it, and it's gonna happen. But then other times it's like word of mouth as well. Like when people introduce me to a Netflix show, like that's half the time I get into a show is because someone's told me about it.
Yeah,
like season 5 of Lucifer, I only spotted that on there because I got a notification through, and then I just binge watched that in in like over 2 days.
I think the best, maybe not the best thing about Netflix, but one of the best things about Netflix is their comedy specials that they pay a certain comedian to do.
Yeah, they are really good. I do like those a lot.
Yeah, Netflix comedy specials are where it's at. You know, like James Acaster's one is incredible.
I was just about to say that.
Was that a Netflix original?
That's a Netflix original, a Netflix comedy special.
Of it.
Yeah, and they have a lot of classic films on there too. But like, I think because what's his name? Ricky Gervais did a Netflix special, Humanity. That was, in my opinion, really, really good. It was offensive, but it was so funny.
I think
he's got another show on Netflix. He's got Afterlife, which is really good. Apparently, I
think that's one of the good things about Netflix is that you can put stuff on there that you wouldn't necessarily show on like normal terrestrial TV.
Yeah, stuff that's too dark for, you know, even after the watershed.
Well, Tom, you said that stuff which is released straight to streaming services is the equivalent of films released straight to DVD.
Sometimes.
That's surely not true.
I don't know. I think it could, like, a lot of films. I don't know, because Netflix are actually now putting out, like, it used to all be shit, but now they seem to be putting out some, like, actual kind of high quality, you know, films that they are producing themselves. But I guess now that they've got so much money now that they can afford to just pay directors like stupid amounts and actors.
You've got things like, I know Apple. Because I got a phone at the start of this year, and I got Apple TV for free with that.
The one person on Apple TV.
No, this is the thing. I haven't paid for it. And I don't know if I will plan on it. But I watched Battleship a couple of weeks ago. It was the first time I'd ever watched something on it.
Oh, is that
Battleship, the one with Rihanna?
Thunderstruck. Yeah, with Rihanna.
Oh no, not Battleship. A Greyhound. That's the one.
Film. I love that film.
Greyhound. I watched Greyhound.
Well, you like Battleship?
No, I didn't. No.
It was so good.
Sorry, I don't like Battleship. I got the wrong film because I was thinking of Greyhound, which is filmed on a World War II. I believe it's a World War II ship, and it's about them transporting supplies across the Atlantic. And not Battleship with Rihanna in. Greyhound with Tom Cruise in. That was the first thing that I actually saw on Apple TV, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch that right now. And I watched it, and it was really good. I've seen one thing on Apple TV, and it was Greyhound, and that was actually really good.
Is Apple TV just Apple TV stuff? Has it got nothing else?
Well, the thing about it is that it sort of integrates a lot of things. So, like, for example, like, if I'm on, like, Apple TV, it's got Apple TV Plus Originals, which has got their own sorts of things on. That's where Greyhound was. But it also integrates a lot of apps. So if I want to say, so it's got like Best of iTV Hub or Best of All 4 or something like that. But if I want to say, for example, I've just loaded up now and there's Black Panther has just appeared on there. So if I tap on Black Panther, it will say, it will give me the option to play it now. And it will say, oh, this is in Disney Plus. So if I just load Black Panther and I click play now, it changes the app to Disney Plus, and then
that's
lets
pretty
me
cool.
watch.
That's really cool. So because you've got, but that is at the same time, that's really cool. But it's also like you are buying so many different streaming services, and it's just pulling them all into one. But like the bill then is.
I mean, Apple TV does work as its own standalone app. You don't need Apple TV Plus, which is the one that you need the subscription for. But Apple TV Plus integrates. Apple TV Plus essentially integrates normal Apple TV, which is the Best of iTV, or if I want to find something, I can put in, like I said, Black Panther, and it will find Black Panther, and it will say, oh, you can watch this on Disney Plus. So I just tap the button, and it will open Disney Plus up. But it also integrates Apple TV Plus, which is their own subscription-based thing, which has the things. So there's a couple of things on there that is the sort of thing where there's things that I've seen from it. There's a couple of things that I really like the idea of, and there's a couple of things that I don't like the idea of. Just looking at just flipping through it now, the Greyhound is really good. Central Park looks good. The Morning Show looks good. C looks good. And there's another space one that's coming out, I believe, at the start of next year. I can't remember exactly what it's called, and I've got it saved somewhere. And
on Netflix, I was watching films the other day. And I always I was kind of interested in this film, but I never really got round to watching it until I finally watched it, right? The Disaster Artist. And I was not expecting great things, but that film is actually pretty good. It's funny.
I went into it completely opposite to you. I went into it expecting great things and was not happy.
This is the thing.
I wouldn't say it's an all-time great film, but I think it's a worth a watch.
It's all right. It's just I thought it would be like really good, but it was just like a easy watch.
Just going back onto the Apple TV thing, the thing that I was looking for was something called Foundation. Here we go. It's based on the award-winning novels by Isaac Asimov. Foundation chronicles a band of exiles on their monumental journey to save humanity and rebuild civilization amid the fall of the Galactic Empire.
Ooh.
Sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah, that sounds surprisingly, yeah. Ooh.
Has that been done before?
Yeah. Galactic Empire.
But I tell you a really good thing. Have any of you seen Chernobyl?
No, but that's on my. I really want to watch it. That's just on Apple TV, isn't it?
It's not on. No, it's not on Apple TV. I think it was in NBC.
Now TV.
It was on NBC.
Oh, that's the one.
It's a Sky thing.
It was on Sky Atlantic, I think.
Yeah.
But that was, I think that was really good. That was really good. The cinematic portrayal of it, I thought it was really good.
It seemed really intense. Because I ended up, because I don't have Sky, I ended up watching the first episode just on a free trial and never got around to finishing the rest. And then the rest, I just watched clips on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Oh no!
And it seemed really. There were scenes which seemed really graphic in it. I mean, the scene where they're on the roof and they send in people one by one, and they've got 2 minutes to go and collect a piece of radioactive material. Yeah, I thought that was really good. The way they betrayed the scientist who was on Friday Night Dinner. I don't know his name. Martin
really?
from Friday Night Dinner.
God, I couldn't take that seriously.
But
I wouldn't be able to take him seriously.
He seems like a really terrible character in it, but he's really good in it. I mean, the whole thing seemed like a good show, but I need to get around to seeing it. Would recommend on the one episode I watched.
Chernobyl really was. It was really good.
It won so many awards as well.
No, Chernobyl, the TV show was really, really good.
Yeah, Chernobyl TV
itself,
show.
No, we do not endorse nuclear accidents.
The drama, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that thing.
You know what? I guilty pleasure here on Netflix. I've rewatched Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I loved it as a kid, right? And then I rewatched it last week, and it was just
disappointed.
I was just as good as I remember it, if not better. That honestly, that was my childhood, but I would 100% recommend watching that as an adult. Like, I don't care what people say; it's still good.
I like the remake, the one where they're on alien planets and James Cameron is directing it.
I haven't actually seen
traveling
that.
to the bottom of the ocean again, or
I've never seen. I think the Avatar, the Last Airbender.
What?
I saw the film. I saw the film.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That was pretty awful.
Oh no! Wait, hang on. The Last Airbender film or the Avatar film?
The Avatar: The Last Airbender, the film that was in cinema.
That live action remake that was like claimed as like one of the worst.
It's live action. That's pretty.
Oh yeah, it was yeah, that one, the awful one, the god awful one, which tried to fit probably like the Last Airbender is like probably like 16 to 20 hours worth of content, and they tried to jam it all into one feature length film.
Oh, so it wasn't a continuation. It was this is what we're gonna make into a film. 20 episodes worth of content.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
That's a tall order.
I'm looking through Netflix now, and like, there's actually a surprising amount of like actual classic good films, like a lot of like actual classics.
I tell you what I want to go and see. Just jumping back to cinemas for a second.
Mm-hmm.
The new James Bond film.
When's that come out?
I think
it's November.
It's going to be the last Daniel Craig, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Because he got paid a hell of a lot of money to do it.
Well, that's the plan anyway. Before Idris Elba comes or whoever.
The world's most multi-talented man.
He's going to be in the new Suicide Squad film. That looks sick.
Really? Who's he going to be?
He's I forgot his name. He's the guy who tried to shoot Superman with a kryptonite bullet in the comics. Whoever that is.
It's all like everyone who's faced Superman, pretty much.
Yeah, that's their one trait they all have in common. They all try to kill him with kryptonite.
I mean, yeah.
Talking of DC, though, the one thing I'm so hyped to see next year is Zack Snyder's Justice League, because that has promised to be probably the best film of all time. And that is a tall order.
Maybe an overstatement, but either way. Is that going to be coming out in cinema again, or is that going to go straight to DVD?
So the plan is, I'll give you the whole oversight, because I was a bit of a nerd going into this.
Massively.
I love the whole idea, but so Justice League was shooting in 2015, 2016, somewhere around then. And for whatever reason, Zack Snyder left the project due to family tragedy, and he fell out with the studios over poor performance of Batman vs Superman or whatever.
Yeah.
So then he shot 4 hours worth of footage for that film, which was going to be condensed into a sort of 3-hour film. But when he left, they hired Joss Whedon to finish the film, who did a load of reshoots on it, and he fell out with loads of cast members or whatever. So the final project of the film, which is 2 hours exactly long, is 90 minutes Joss Whedon, half an hour Zack Snyder.
Really?
Okay.
So what Zack Snyder's Justice League is his original film of the 4 hours he shot. So you're basically going to get
how long is it
film with the same sort of plot points, but done in a completely different version, which I think will be really good.
So pretty much the same script, but an entirely different film.
No. So obviously you're going to have the resurrection of Superman in it. You'll have the final battle at the end and the tunnel battle in the middle, but they'll be shot differently, and they'll get to it in different ways. So they'll have like plot points, but they'll be written in a different way. So the thing on HBO Max is going to be split into 4 parts, and then at the end of it, they're going to edit it into a 4-hour film and then release it in cinemas for a certain length of time.
So they recorded 4 hours and they're going to make it a 4-hour film.
Yeah, after a 4-part series, they're going to edit it together.
Damn. Are you going to watch the series? Are you going to watch this series, or are you going to save it for the ultimate cinema experience?
No, I'm going to watch the series.
Really? If I was you, if I was you personally, I would like save it and then like.
I like the idea of a series because it's going to be shot on a different aspect ratio, so it's more like a TV show anyway. So it's kind of already in that format, but I can't wait for it, so I might as well just watch it as a TV show. That's my
just too excited.
That's my.
But then what happens when you get a quarter of the way in and you just want more?
But wait a week.
A week. But then
I don't know. It might be released all at once. I think it's going to be weekly because HBO Max wants to get more subscriptions from it, so that's why they're not releasing it as a film to begin with.
Oh,
They're going to have like 4 weeks, and then you have to buy a subscription.
Because that's more than 1 month's worth of free trial.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've got to pay for at least.
Or more than 1 week or whatever, yeah.
I mean, the thing was something like The Mandalorian when it came out in the UK. Because they released every single episode a week apart in America, and then they delayed it, and then they released every single episode a week apart in the UK. And, Disney Plus came out, I think it was a week after the UK announced its lockdown, or somewhere very close to when the UK released. The UK went into lockdown, and all that I can think is the CEO of Disney, or the person who's doing that, was just rubbing his hands together. He was just sitting there thinking,
perfect timing.
That was a hell of a good timing to do that.
No, I can see that. Do you know what has been like lately pissing me off about Netflix? I didn't realize how much Netflix censors the content it puts on in comparison to the original pieces.
Top Gear's. Have you seen Top Gear episode length? So they were all shot as 1-hour episodes, and on Netflix you have like 45-minute episodes, 53 minutes. It's very it's
so much is cut out.
Things from it. What else have they cut? Have they cut other shows?
Yeah, but the questionable content makes Top Gear Top Gear.
Yeah, exactly. And even then, it was on BBC, so it can't be that bad.
Yeah, if the BBC were willing to put it on there.
It's mainly the news segments
comments
which are
that Jeremy
cut,
Clarkson made during the final season he was there.
And like in the film The Breakfast Club, like he has like a spliff in his hand in the picture, but like in the Netflix version of the picture, he's got like a pencil edited in instead.
Really?
Like,
what?
Yeah, it's like a classic film. Like in the original one, he's holding a joint, but in the Netflix version, he's got like a pencil that he's twiddling in his fingers.
Because the weird thing about that is that like they've already got their own form of censoring, haven't they? Yeah, sorry, I just confused myself.
I guess so, yeah. But I was watching Tokyo Ghoul. It's really quite gory, but like there is some bits in it where some bits they cut it out, and like some bits they like change it from being red to like blue so it doesn't show the blood or whatever. But then sometimes they just have full on like a blurred out like censored like big bar, like as if like someone was naked on TV and there was like the fuzz in front of them.
Well, actually put a bar. Wait, is this on Fast and Furious?
Like the
Tokyo
Black
Drift?
Square?
No, Tokyo Ghoul. It's a TV show on Netflix, but like it's like not a black square, but like it's like a fuzzy, so you can't actually see what's going on. But it's not it's because of gore, and I guess they only let a certain amount of gore on Netflix.
What was the rating beforehand? Anyway, was it an 18?
I assume it's an 18, and it's a 15 on Netflix.
So they're censoring it to make it more accessible, maybe. But then
maybe. I don't know. It is really quite gory.
It's stopping all those 40-year-old, 50-year-old men becoming psychos and going on a rampage.
Maybe
protecting those vulnerable minds.
But the thing is, Netflix has like a dedicated children's area on it.
It does, yeah.
Which I think is a bit weird, but they have like individual profiles. So I think you should just be able to like lock a profile on it. Like you.
Yeah. So
like,
what my sister had a kids account on Netflix, and when she wanted to watch something, I mean, like Doctor Who, for instance. She just went onto my profile and watched it.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes no difference.
You literally can just switch profiles anyway. Could you lock it? Like, could you lock a certain tablet to like a Netflix profile?
I don't know.
Because if so, I need to do that with my grandparents because they keep on watching stuff on my account.
It's so annoying because then you have weird things recommended.
I know, yeah. I've started like, I never used to like rate anything on Netflix, but I always now like or dislike things. No, even if I haven't watched them, if I've seen them before, I'll like it just because like I really want it to get to know what I actually want to watch.
Because at the end of the day, the more you interact with the content, the better the algorithm gets at making trying to get it.
Yeah. It will learn who you are and your tastes and interests.
And once it does that, it can just give you better content.
Talking of taste and interest, though, last time we did a film, this sort of discussion, we all said what our favourite films were at the time. So, do we care to give an update on that?
You know,
Luke?
Yeah.
Come back to me. I'm having a drink of water.
All right, Tom.
I would still say that the film Mad Max Fury Road, which I said last time, is still my number one favorite film, but there's close runners up. There's stuff's caught up with it. Like, what have I got? I'd say something like, I can't even remember the names of half the films. It's really tragic. There's one that's specifically in my head.
Wait, who's in it?
Tom Hardy twice. He's both of the Craig brothers.
Legend,
that's the one.
Yeah,
Legend. I think Legend's like my top 5s now. Like, it's such a good film.
Mad Max, though, I watched that the other day on my projector at home with surround sound, and it was insane.
With surround, you need surround sound for that film.
Yeah, literally. Like, especially when you had like engines roaring, you had different noises coming from all around.
Yeah, and you can tell which. Yeah, like the cars in that film are incredible. Like, just the design and the set design and all the costumes, like.
So with Mad Max Fury Road, what they did was they wrote the storyboard before they did the script. So, in other words, they knew what they were going to shoot before they knew the dialogue of the film.
Really? Well, that makes sense though, because there really isn't that much dialogue in the film.
It's designed to be a visual film. It's designed for all the action pieces.
I think the color grading in that film is it's top tier, because the sky always looks so incredible, but the sand always looks the
amazing. Sand's always golden, and then the sky changes throughout the day. It's really cool. That is a sick film. It's really good.
What would you rate it out of 10? Because I'd give it a solid 10. I'd give it a 9.5.
Probably a 9, an 8.9.
8.9.
8.9.
Really? Okay, 8.9. So that's a solid answer. Yeah.
Yeah, 8.9.
Have you seen it?
I don't want to put it in the 9 category for those films. Where Zack Snyder's Justice League is going to be.
Well, imagine if it wasn't though. You could be disappointed.
I've hyped this up too much in my head now.
I genuinely think you're not going to like it purely because you put it on a pedestal, No,
if it came out now, I wouldn't like it, but it will die down in my interest, and then when it gets released, it will just...
When is it released again?
Sometime next year. They don't know when.
Not ready yet.
Not yet.
Oh. It's crazy how that argument happened, and they just had all that footage that then just went to waste for ages.
Well, going back to Zack Snyder's Justice League, the reason it became sort of an interest to release is because of the whole Release the Snyder Cut movement. It was Warner Bros.'s most tweeted about film, and it was never released.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
That's odd.
So I guess somebody in an office scratching their heads going, maybe people want to see this. Maybe we can make money from it.
Yeah, they've kind of disappeared under the radar a tiny bit in the last few years, I think, Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Like compared to how big they used to be.
Well, they released Mad Max. Mad Max is Warner Brothers.
Yeah, but like that's a good 6 years ago now. Must be, maybe. I'm
trying to think.
Nah.
Is it
5 years ago? I probably wasn't 14 when I watched it. Maybe I was.
I can't remember any Warner Brothers films apart from like Batman vs Superman and
Is Harry Potter Warner Brothers? Even though it was. I think Harry Potter was Warner Brothers. I might be wrong. I probably am wrong.
Yeah, no, it's Warner Brothers because it's Warner Bros. Studio.
Oh yeah, I've been there a long time ago.
I think it is. Yeah.
Did we go on a school trip there? I went on a school trip there. Yeah, with the media class. It was so educational. Unbelievable.
Did they teach you how to film Harry Potter?
We walked around the set and that was it. Like we didn't see anything to do with filming. It was just like all the props and that.
We went to Bangor on a biology field trip. That was one of the best trips I've seen.
It should be a great trip.
Oh yeah, and then you all went to the beach that week as well.
I don't know.
Because everybody had
no,
the
we did
field
with like
trip.
sixth form.
Yeah, in sixth form.
Oh, was that then?
Yeah.
Yeah, when we made
Jabba the Slut.
Jabba the Slut, yeah.
That was the world's greatest sandcastle.
I mean, it would have won had it not been called Jabba the Slut, but we were adamant it is called Jabba the Slut. The only reason it didn't win.
So Matt,
Luke.
Sorry, okay.
Oh no, I was going to ask you.
Do you want me to go first then?
Yeah,
Go on.
Okay, so last time I think I said The Great Gatsby was my favourite film, and I still do think it's a very good film. But I have just pulled together my top 5 films in total.
Jeez.
And they are not necessarily in this order, but they are The Great Gatsby, Doctor Strange, because I really like Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a really, really good actor, and I really like that film as well. Oblivion, which is the one with Tom Cruise.
Oh, I wasn't that big fan of that. Is that the one where it's like in the sky and there's like the weird plane things?
And all the drones in.
Yeah, that's the one.
The drones and stuff. The scabs and it's got Morgan Freeman in.
I watched it in the cinema when it first came out, but I haven't watched it since then.
They filmed that in the same way they filmed Mandalorian, where they built a virtual set with LED screens behind it, which move when the camera moves, so it's like you're in the real location.
I thought that was really good. M83 also did the soundtrack to that. The soundtrack was amazing, especially Oblivion. The song Oblivion from the soundtrack, because they released the album as the soundtrack, and then there's one of the songs on there called Oblivion featuring, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, Suzanne Studfor, and that song is one of my favourite songs ever. I thought Greyhound, the one with he's in Forrest Gump, what's he called? The great Tom Hanks,
Woody.
yeah, that's the one.
Can't believe we didn't know that.
I thought Greyhound was a really good film. It was one of the films that I actually watched again, like the day after, because I thought it was such a good film. I really liked that good film. It was a good film. And shock horror, Tenet.
Really, that's gone straight in there.
I thought it was a really good film.
Or has that gone straight in there because it's fresh in your mind?
It might.
I always find that
is it like Tom and Suicide Squad?
Yeah.
But I genuinely really liked that film.
Yeah. I think when I've seen the film, I need time to process it before if I know it's good or not. Because I get so excited by the whole cinema experience. I'm like, yes, this is amazing.
Like, oh my god, we go to the cinema, and then But yeah,
and all the sugar from the snacks and.
So yeah, at the moment, my top 5 films are Greyhound, The Great Gatsby, Tenet, Doctor Strange, and Oblivion, but not necessarily in that order.
Yeah, for my top 5, I'd put The Imitation Game in there.
Oh, that's a good film. That is a really good film.
That, like, Benedict Cumberbatch is incredible.
Benedict Cumberbatch is such a great actor, and you can pretty much spell his name any way you want, and you can just look at it and you think, that's Benedict Cumberbatch.
Close enough. It's because he's on everyone's minds, because he's, to be fair, he's not fallen off the radar a bit, but he was huge, 3 years ago? But, like,
Sherlock,
he's still huge, but, like...
Yeah.
But, like, that was his peak in my, like, well, he might peak again, but he's definitely, like, fallen off the radar slightly in the last couple of years. But then I guess he's probably having a rest because he was in so much stuff just for like Sherlock, all of the the Avengers stuff, and like Imitation Game, and yeah. Have you seen on Netflix? Oh yeah, Matt, your turn. You've got to go through your either top 5 or top 1.
But this is going to vary so much in quality. It's going to be just films I like, and then films which are genuinely bad and I like.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It's your opinion, though, isn't it?
So I can't make a top 5. I'm just going to list films off the top of my head, which I enjoy. I quite like some classical films, so I like Lawrence of Arabia. That's an amazing film.
I've never
would recommend.
I've never seen it.
It's almost 4 hours long, and it's got an interval break in it dedicated. But that's really good. I'm a massive fan of Stanley Kubrick. He's my favorite director. All the things he's directed, from The Shining to Eyes Wide Shut, Full Metal Jacket, 2001.
Can you pick one Kubrick film?
The Moonlight. I'm a massive fan of that. Yeah, definitely. I love all of his films. I love Interstellar. That's one of my favorite films of all time.
I never watched that.
Christopher Nolan has got to be my favorite director at the moment. Every single film that he's done for the last couple of years,
he's been consistent. Really good. I love films with a mythos behind them, and most of Christopher Nolan's films have got a whole sort of story of how they came to it.
Yeah.
So with Interstellar, they built a rendering engine, put mathematical equations into it, and made the first computer model of a black hole for that film. Wow. And they got 2 or 3 scientific papers out of it, which they sent off to universities to study.
Oh damn, that's pretty cool.
Insane.
I know they did, from the music side of things, Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack for it, and they went to a church in, I believe it was
somewhere in London, wasn't it?
I think it was the Temple Church in London, and they had a massive organ there, and they just filled the room with microphones, and they just they got the organist from the church in there, and the organist from the church does all of the organ stuff on it, and he just said, can you give me some sounds just to hear what the organ sounds like? And then they did it, and then I believe that Hans Zimmer got given a single page of the script, and it was a dialogue between Murph and her father. And at the time, he didn't know that Murph was going to be a girl, so Hans Zimmer wrote this in his studio using like synthesizers, using organ like samplers. And then when they went into church, they got this organist to do it. And if you watch there's an interview of them doing it, and the organ is just incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, see, I've never seen that film, but I've heard like a lot of the soundtrack. Like.
Well, you haven't seen the film?
I've not seen the film, but I've listened to like a load of... I know. And I don't know, when it first came out, it just didn't appeal to me. And I don't know why.
One of my friends had... We saw Tenet, we came home, and we watched Inception, because she'd never seen Inception. And then we were like, Christopher Nolan does that sort of things like Tenet. He does lots of like sci-fi and mythos things.
I've never seen Inception.
Interstellar. Oh my god!
I know. Yeah.
No.
Inception, it just didn't appeal to me. I don't know. It was too mainstream.
Tom, do you just not like Christopher Nolan?
You're just too edgy.
I've not watched that many Well, apart from obviously Batman, but I've not watched that many Nolan films.
Batman trilogy, Inception, Interstellar, and Tenet. Some of the best sci-fi films I've ever seen.
I like Dunkirk as well.
Dunkirk was incredible.
Dunkirk
was absolutely incredible.
You got like 10,000 extras on a beach and just filmed. So it was pretty cool. They rebuilt the pier going out, and just had to keep rebuilding it every single day because the waves were bashing it.
Really? Oh, that's...
Yeah.
I'll be honest, and Dunkirk as well, of course. Dunkirk was a really good film. That was a brilliant film.
Yeah, Dunkirk was really good.
I remember watching that. I think I saw it on Netflix when we were moving out because of the pandemic. I'd literally just got home. We'd just been told the exams had been cancelled, and I just sat down and I watched that on my display, and it was really good.
I think I watched that in the cinema, and it was like, I think that's one of the films that you need to see in the cinema.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX because it was filmed in IMAX on 70mm, so it's got a It's got a taller aspect ratio, a bit like Justice League will do. So you got to see so much, and it was so immersive.
I think by like 5 years' time, the aspect ratio in film will have completely changed, like from default.
There's a thing about that actually.
Oh.
More and more TV shows are switching to the 2:1 aspect ratio.
Because
I'm not sure if you heard.
Yeah.
So you have 16:9, which is quite, which is what widescreen is at the moment, and then 2:1 is a very slight letterbox on that. But by doing it, TV shows say it gives it more cinematic quality, and more films are being filmed in 2:1 because as they're being released on streaming services, they want to be able to fit it on a widescreen TV, but not have it so the picture's tiny.
Yeah.
So what you'll find more and more is that format is becoming more of a standard for things.
Really?
Because the majority,
so I wouldn't be surprised that TV screens soon switch to a 2:1 aspect ratio in the near future.
Sizes are changing a lot nowadays, because usually most like computers are like a 16:9 or 16:10, and the Surface Books are 3:2. And everything's which is actually really weird. And apparently they're much better for productivity because of the size of the display, because you can have two documents open in front of you instead of having them slightly stretched out a bit.
3:2 is taller than 16:9, isn't it? Slightly.
Yeah,
Surface Books are. I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. It's like going back to the old days of monitors, when they were pretty much square.
Yeah.
Like, I've used the Surface Book because one of my friends has one, and I'm not about it because I'd rather have a wider screen.
I suppose it depends. It mainly depends on what sort of thing you're trying to do. If you're going to be watching films, then as Matt said, if everything's going that way, then you might prefer to do that. But if you're trying to do like content creativity, like for example, if I'm trying to run an Ableton session and I want to look at everything that's in the track view,
you'd rather have it wide than tall.
Yeah, I prefer to have something wider than tall. But I'd say if you, as with a lot of things nowadays, it's not necessarily just nowadays. It's the balance between a lot of things. It's balance between things like, I mean, coming from a computer standpoint, it's the difference between like quality, aspect ratio, the size of the display, the quality of the display, and I think I've said the refresh rate. But yeah, it's the sort of things that you can do on them. Not necessarily like for like color correction work, you need super high accurate displays and stuff.
Yeah, they're expensive.
They are expensive.
There's these things you can get where you sort of glue them on.
Quick fire. What's everyone's favorite aspect ratio?
I don't know.
Whatever this monitor is, because it's peng.
I don't know. How big is what's the aspect ratio on an LG ultrafine display?
Where's my aspect ratio?
I've literally
We're gonna have to cut this. Jesus.
Everyone's checking it. Well, while you're looking, my favorite aspect ratio is 1.66 to 1.
That's a bit awkward though, isn't it?
No, it's not. So imagine 16:9, which is what your monitors are, and then put very thin sidebars on the side bits, not the top bits, the side bits. That's European standards widescreen. I think that's the best aspect ratio because it's still tall, but it's not wide.
Yeah.
Wide.
I don't know. I've got two monitors here.
Ooh.
And one of my monitors is just slightly wider than the other one, but I think they're actually the same length, but one of them's curved, so it looks shorter, but I actually prefer the one that's flat.
This is an interesting thing I've just found. The internal display on my MacBook Pro is 16:10, and my LG Ultrafine is 16:9. And I think I prefer the internal display on my Mac.
But two displays is always better than one, though.
Pardon?
There's a small discovery.
But two displays is always better than one.
Technically, I've got 3 displays.
Oh, what's the third one?
A Samsung monitor that's really old that my granddad gave to me. But it's a really good display, don't get me wrong. But because the way that it normally works is I'll have my LG Ultrafine slap bang in front of me, and then I'll have my Samsung monitor to the left of me on a monitor arm, and my laptop, when I'm using it, I just close it and I just put it in the dock. And I've got a Thunderbolt cable going to my LG monitor, which goes to the Ultrafine, which goes to everything, like the interface, the keyboard, all of the audio stuff, and all of the MIDI equipment that I've got plugged into it. And then I've got one USB-C to HDMI that goes out to the display. But the nice thing about it is that I can have a Logic session or an Ableton session open in one window, and I can have the mixer open on the other window, or the console settings for the Apollo, which is really handy when I'm trying to multitask.
And then you can have Greyhound playing in the background. Or
and then I can have it, and then So I think
that is the thing with having two monitors. You get distracted way more easily.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Because the nice thing.
Well, at least I can see if I'm recording on mine and not having to flick through, which is quite nice.
I'm just going through. Okay. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think that it mainly depends on lots of people. People have different opinions on these things, and I think that if you're looking purely like from a phone, as lots of people are now, you might prefer certain settings rather than. I think someone coming from a phone is going to prefer a wider aspect ratio than somebody who's just watching something on, maybe say, a computer.
My number one trigger: people who watch like mad cinematic films on phones with like phone speakers.
I mean, I'm about to say, because if you, I think Ben-Hur is shot on. I'm going to get this completely wrong, but let's, for argument's sake, it's on anamorphic film. So it's super stretched. So if you watch it on a normal screen, you have so much black barrage on the top and the bottom that the picture looks really small. But if you watch it on a phone, it pretty much fills the screen.
But it's just not the same.
It's not the same, but
everything's teeny tiny there.
But this is the interesting thing. My phone has Dolby Atmos speakers on, apparently.
I think.
What does that mean?
My laptop had that. Yeah, they're nice speakers, but
I don't think those are speakers. I think that's Dolby enhanced. It's a system. It's a audio system on it, isn't it?
It's Dolby. Here we go. iOS. Dolby Atmos is a thing, apparently. Dolby Atmos mobile.
Oh.
It's got on it. I mean, I do like that, but the thing about it is that I've got a notch at the top of my phone, so if I try and fill the whole thing, I've got a little notch on the side of it.
What do you think's better, pinhole or notch?
Cracked screen. Still way forwards.
I mean, if you actually had a SIM card that would work in your phone, Matt, it might help.
No, that's fixed now. No, I watched a YouTube video the other day, and it was going through pinhole or notch, and for half the video it had a pinhole in it, and it didn't tell you. There was just a black thing.
Really?
And then it said, "Oh, by the way, you've been watching this with a pinhole. Have you noticed it?" And I was thinking, no, I haven't. So I think I prefer pinhole to notch.
But was your pinhole on the other pinhole?
I think that it depends on what you're doing with it. I know I keep saying that a lot, but I think that if they're starting to put cameras that are under displays, and I think the first one's coming at the end of this year or maybe the start of next year. But one company said that they are ready to ship displays that can have cameras underneath the displays. But I think that you've got to balance what you're doing with it as well. So if you just want a camera on it, then a pinhole camera is absolutely fine. But if you're trying to cram in like the sorts of sensors you want to use for Face ID, I mean the number of sensors that I know this because I use lots of Apple products, but the things that they put in, like the camera and the dot matrix projector and all of that sort of technology that they put into the bar at the top of it, if you're trying to put all of that technology in, I can see why you would need such a big area to put it in. Don't get me wrong, I think that a pinhole camera would be better. But I think
if you're watching films on phones or watching media,
it depends on what you're going to be doing with it.
Yeah. But
yeah.
So, do we have any final thoughts on our films? Any upcoming films
and the future of film?
I want to watch the James Bond film because I think that it looks.
I'd agree on that.
Brilliant.
New James Bond film.
New James Bond
but
film.
Then again,
new Batman film. Robert Pattinson.
That might be that. I've heard that's gonna be good.
I think it's gonna go. It's gonna go one of two ways. It's either gonna be amazing or terrible. I don't think it's gonna be.
Have you watched the trailer for it?
No.
No,
I've seen a lot of stuff around it.
It looks really good. Yeah.
Does it?
I'll certainly check it out.
To be honest, there isn't that much coming out. It's all just delayed from this year.
Yeah.
Really.
Next year's probably going to be a really good year for film and TV shows, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
The Black Widow film is going to be coming out as well. I saw a trailer for that. That looks really good.
I'm not convinced. I'm over the Marvel hype.
Yeah, as soon as Endgame happened, it burnt me out after that. Like, I don't like, and I was excited for Endgame. I was excited for a few before it, but now I just don't really care. Like, you know,
I think they know that though. I think they're just they're waiting. They're going to build it up slowly to the next big thing.
Yeah,
they don't want to just keep.
I don't know if they'll be able to top it though. Like, and maybe in like 5-10 years time. But
next time they have like a big conclusion or like the end of like, because isn't there like 3 generations of Marvel films?
Yeah, different phases.
Yeah, that's the one. I think when they come towards the next, like at the end of the next phase, when they try and like, I don't know, draw it all together or something, maybe.
Yeah.
I think they've spent so long building it up. I'm worried that they'll try and do it again, but it'll be too soon.
Yeah, you've got to, with something like that, you've got to leave it a while.
Yeah,
definitely. You've got to let the dust settle off the last big thing and build up the foundations of your new.
Yeah,
but I think they might get greedy.
To be honest with Marvel, they've now got the rights to Fantastic Four and X-Men, so they're just going to wait until their Fox franchises sort of die out, and then they'll reboot it and do stuff with that.
The Fox Fantastic Four was pretty tragic. I remember when that came out, and it was not good.
You have The Rock without any pants on, and
wait, what?
Strange. Not The Rock, the Boulder Man, whatever his name is.
Oh, Thing.
Yeah, he has no pants.
Nice.
He's just got a rocky patch.
Oh my god. All right. Well, I think that's all we've got time for today.
So, yeah.
Yet again, you've ended it on me saying something weird like rocky patch.
Every time is now a tradition.
I think you just wait until I say something or Luke says something, goes, right, time to finish.
Gotta end on a strange note.
Yeah. Well, it's been your regular host, me, Matt.
Me, Tom.
And me, Luke.
Remember to follow us on Instagram at official ChinWag and on Twitter at ChinWag Podcast. But for now, it's been good being listened to, and we'll see you next time.
Being listened to.
That sounds so bad. Right, goodbye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.